What's good, everybody?
What up?
It is that time again. I am one of your two very esteemed hosts of the No Hedging podcast, and I go by the name of Rip16 the GOAT. And this is my host,
Ty the Jet, man. You know what it is.
Brody.
You know who it is.
Back again, man.
Back again. Week 3.
Week 3. But first, before we get into week 3, we got to talk about week 2 to
Week
get
2
prepared
takeaway.
for week 3.
You're right.
So we need them takeaways, bro. Give me some takeaways right here.
I got some takeaways for you.
All right,
But
give them to
before
me.
we get into that, make sure you guys hit that like button, you comment below after you hear our feedback, and you subscribe to the channel, man. Week 2 takeaways, all right? So there's a lot of activity going on. Every week in the NFL is a great week. I don't know about you, but to me, every week in the NFL is a great week. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of shit going on. One of my first takeaways that I had from week 2 was those lousy Chargers and that Charger defense. I know you're going to feel a certain type of way about that, but we got to keep it 100, man.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to keep it a buck. The problem is Staley. Staley is the freaking problem. When you have a loaded roster just like the Los Angeles Chargers,
Oh, man.
and you're the worst in defense with a defensive-minded head coach, it doesn't make any sense, man. The Chargers are starting off this season 0-2. They lost to Miami at home. They lost to Tennessee on the road in Tennessee. Close game. Shouldn't have been. But they lost to Tennessee. 0-2 starting off the season. Brandon Staley, I'm calling for your head, man. You got to go.
Well, I'm gonna throw this out here. I agree with you on a lot of things. Staley makes a lot of questionable decisions, okay? Defensive-minded coach, you shouldn't be getting beat the fuck up on your defense.
Situational football is terrible.
Yeah, in situations, I don't know what he thought the situation was, but the shit he was reading and what everybody else was reading was completely different and didn't work out sometimes. However, to his defense, I will say this. You're missing Austin Eckler. That opens up your run game. You did have a monster game from Keenan Allen. You had a solid game from Mike Williams. So I thought it should have been enough for you to win that game offensively, right? So I do think Staley's decisions in this is the cause of the loss.
Yes.
For sure. It was a battle. It did go overtime. We're talking about a run-heavy team versus – I mean, look at how they've been defending the run this season. It's not that good.
They haven't been defending anything.
They haven't defended much at all. Okay, it's tough.
Yeah.
So 0-2 start is tough. This is one of my two teams, so I hate to see it. But like you said, you know, the Chargers do have a history of second half letdowns. It is Falcon-esque. However, I think the remedy to that is either you do something with Staley or you do a complete overhaul like you did with the Falcons on defense.
They just need to let Staley go and find an offensive-minded head coach to take over that team and do it the right way.
They need some defense, though. You can't keep giving up all this on defense.
Yeah. So that leads me into my second takeaway of week 2, and that is the entire NFC South division. You got 3 teams, 2-0.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Falcons.
And you got your sorry-ass Carolina Panthers 0-2, but we'll let them sit there for a minute. Because we give them benefit of the doubt. Rookie quarterback, first year playing. We understand
I'm not
that.
giving them the benefit of shit.
We understand that. That was to be expected. But the surprise in the NFC South, to me, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man.
I agree with that.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield's playing very well. He went on the road in Minnesota, got that dub, came back
what did
home
I say about Minnesota?
and got that dub.
What did I say about Minnesota last week? I said the defense was not given. The only thing they gave up was a bunch of fucking yards to Mike Evans.
Yeah, and their defense hasn't been good for some time.
And it's continued. The Vikings had another issue, but we'll get into that in a second when I talk about my takeaways. But right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yes, they are a surprise team. They are a lot better than I expected coming into these first couple games. You know, they got a little juice, but they are about to run into a tough opponent. So we're going to see how that week 3 is gonna show me something.
Yeah,
Like,
all these teams got somebody to play in week 3.
Yeah, everybody got somebody to play. So this is a show me who you really are week, for sure. But we were going back and forth before the season even started. We pretty much had an idea that the Saints and the Falcons would be
Tussling
in contention for the first spot. But I did not see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being in this spot. So I am pleasantly surprised at the strength of the NFC South division. Yeah, man, that's my main thing. I told you the Falcons was gonna win though.
Yeah, I mean they won close game at home. I understand all of that. It was cute. And they could have lost it.
That defense better than people thought too.
Could have lost. That defense ain't do nothing.
The defense made some plays.
They don't get no pressure. They only had 2 sacks.
defense
what are you
made
talking
some
about?
plays.
No turnovers. Jordan Love was cooking. He threw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. For the first 3 quarters, he was doing the goddamn thing.
And what happened?
It stalled out.
Thank you.
But you got to think about it. Jordan Love, he didn't have Aaron Jones.
What was the run game?
Huh?
They didn't have Aaron Jones, but what was the run game?
Aaron Jones is that dude. That's the guy. If they would have had Aaron Jones, y'all wouldn't have won that game. And you know it. Y'all only won by 1 point. Barely.
You got some more takeaways?
Last takeaway is New Orleans Saints. All right, New Orleans Saints are 2-0. That's true. But they do have some issues on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. I will admit, I was a Derek Carr guy. It's not looking real.
I told you,
I don't want to drive that car
a roller
anymore.
coaster.
Yeah, I don't want to drive that car anymore.
That car is on a fucking NASCAR track.
He not looking too good. But I do believe when Alvin Kamara comes back that they're going to be a better offense and they're going to clean it up a little bit. And it's just the beginning of the season.
He's a very good player. It is early in the season. Yeah. But Derek Carr has a history of this. He has his great moments. Mm-hmm. And then he turns around and he has some what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
You was putting all that stock into Derek Carr like he about to be the next coming of Drew Brees, and he is not.
We'll see, man.
Still not voting for them Aints. Rise up.
But I will say the NFC South started off strong this season so far. They all do have cupcake schedules. Let's go ahead and put that out there. Let's go ahead and get that out there. Easiest schedules in the league.
Speaking of cupcakes.
We're going to let that go.
Speaking of cupcakes, what the fuck happened with the Giants versus the Cardinals? First of all,
that's what happened.
They started off that barely.
We won.
Barely.
Don't matter. We won.
How did y'all go down 2 touchdowns? We both actually was sitting here talking about the Cardinals. The Cardinals are actually proving to be tougher than people think. Even though they are not winning, they're competing.
Yeah.
They are a lot tougher than people think. Joshua Dobbs got out there. He gave you a solid performance. You know, the Giants picked it up in the second half. WWSB, what would they be without Saquon Barkley? Yeah. What would you do without Saquon Barkley?
Saquon was great. I give you that. But Daniel Jones, you can't say that Daniel Jones didn't play his ass off. He was the best fantasy quarterback last week. He balled out. 250 yards in the second half, 50-plus yards rushing in the second half, 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. Come on, man. Daniel Jones showed the fuck up, dog.
Daniel Jones played a good game. Yes.
That's where that $40 million went. I'm not going to blame Daniel Jones for the first half of that football game. I'm going to blame our defense because we let the Cardinals just run up and down the field on us.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to blame our fucking offensive coordinator, Mike fucking Kafka, for calling these weak ass plays, bro.
But Saquon was a big part of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to take that away from him. Absolutely not.
He gave us a lot of juice. He gave you and I both some juice in different fantasy leagues. You know, in our league, you were lucky. You were lucky enough to reap the benefits.
Still lost. Don't matter.
But Saquon had a good performance. Hate that he got an injury, which leads me into another takeaway was the injuries. These injuries are becoming a problem, a huge problem. Yeah. And they are attacking somebody every week. It's like the Reaper.
It's running backs.
It's running backs. Well, they got Aaron Rodgers 4 snaps in the ankle snap.
Aaron Rodgers. You got J.K. Dobbins. You got Nick Chubb.
Prayers up for Nick Chubb. That was
David Montgomery just got hurt. Like you got dudes just dropping like flies. Saquon, he just got hurt.
Saquon got hurt. he gave us a good performance, but he did get hurt. That
Yeah.
concerns me. That was the takeaway for the Giants. I'm concerned with them going into this next game.
Thursday night, short week.
Short week against the 49ers.
Yep, in San Fran.
So all of those scrawls were short.
And I think this is their home opener too.
Yeah, that's a sad ass opener. But yeah, so the injuries are a takeaway is highly concerning. It's impacting your bets, it's impacting your fantasy, it's impacting you all type of ways. So keep that in mind when you're placing your wagers. Keep that in mind when you're picking your fantasy players. Like, these injuries are attacking hard early. Maybe it'll get a little bit better. I hate to see it. Prayers up for Nick Chubb. That was ugly.
Oof.
But yeah, so that was another takeaway for me. Couple quick ones. 49ers and the Rams, Commanders and the Broncos. Both the Commanders and the Rams are proven to me that they are more formidable than people think also, much like the Cardinals. Because people was thinking that it was a division game between 49ers and the Rams, but people were thinking it was just going to be a runaway. But they stuck in there. It was a close game. So they're a team you got to be careful with and watch.
I'm not afraid of the Rams.
I wouldn't say afraid.
I'm not.
But what's your boy Nakua?
Puka
Nakua. When you get Cooper Kupp comes back, you keep a nice focus Matthew Stafford. You get some defensive pressure. You know, you got your Donald, you got your other guys who can generate some defensive pressure out there. Like, they're a strong team, bro. They coming out of a tough division, but they are a strong team. So that's the team I want to watch. That's one of my takeaways from them.
Yeah.
Last and finally was just the Vikings and the Eagles, the last Thursday night game. I don't know what's up with the Eagles. They've won these games, but they didn't win them pretty.
No.
And that concerns me a little bit about the Eagles.
Listen,
the Vikings defense is still not good.
Bro, they rushed the ball for like 200-something yards. What's wrong with that?
Swift ran the ball for a lot, but I expected
what's wrong with winning that way?
I expected to open up a passing attack a little bit better on a Vikings secondary that has not been given.
You didn't see that big bomb that they threw to Devontae Smith?
That was one bomb.
Yeah.
That's the only pass I remember.
Yeah, but you didn't need anything else when you got Swift running for 150 yards.
I get it, but it just seemed that
you lean
pass,
into what works, bro.
Yes, their run team is run heavy, but I'm not seeing the dog out of Jalen Hurts that I'm used to seeing. I know it's working for them to win off of the run. I get it. I do.
They got a new offensive coordinator this year. Their last offensive coordinator got shipped out. So it's a new office that he's working with right now.
And I need for him to get acclimated, because once he comes against somebody like a 49ers level or the 49ers on their own level. But once you come against somebody who is somebody, because they're going to have to play Dallas. Mm-hmm. They're in the same division.
And they're going to show up. No problem. I'm not concerned.
I just don't like the way they win it. It concerns me.
That didn't concern me. You know why? Because they're winning.
They won, but
they're winning.
The time is going to come where you're going to have to
winning. It's early in the season. If you can manage getting through this first month and getting your offense back in rhythm and motion, then you're going to be all right.
I picked them to win, and they won.
Yeah.
So I'm not pissed. I'm just saying. Clean it up.
They're going to be all right. Philly going to be all right. I got one more takeaway for you. The Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals starting off 0-2 for the season. Obviously, this is not new territory for them because they started this way last season. But nevertheless, two losses.
They're in danger of being 0-3.
The two losses came to division opponents. The Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens.
That's bad.
Right? So, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, you guys are on notice. You got to do something. You got to do something because right now it's not looking good. I know last season you had a nice little push, and made your way through, but you're 0-2 in your own division, man.
Yeah.
And your division ain't easy.
No.
So y'all need to pick up some wins. Y'all need to go ahead and figure this thing out. You know, Joe, I think he got nicked up again, and it ain't good. That offense ain't offensing. It's not.
Offense is offensive to look at right now.
It's not good.
And I don't need y'all coming out here against the Rams next week doing that.
So when you got a lot of people talking about, your favorite to go to the bowl, to the Super Bowl, and you come out 0-2.
I'm waiting on Jamar Chase to break out. I'm waiting on the chemistry to show up between Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, but it's not yet. Maybe it'll show up soon.
That
Maybe
calf
this
injury
week.
Fucked him up.
Yeah, it did.
Because he wasn't in camp. You know what I'm saying?
He
missed some
needs
weeks
some
in
time
camp.
to get his rhythm up, and I hope he gets it real soon because, the Bengals have been a title contender for the past couple years. So, people got high expectations out of them. I think they're a better team than 0-2.
The Ravens winning that division, I'm telling you.
But yeah, it do look like the Ravens are in contention
to win
the division for sure. So
even though they got a lot of injuries too, but
they do.
Yeah.
But they're finding a way to win games.
Yep.
Hey man. Well, that's our takeaways. So once you got the takeaways, you got to take it somewhere.
Where we taking it?
We got to take it to the rundown next.
The rundown.
So with that being said, stay tuned. Stay locked in. Because we gonna help you recap. We're going to see where shit went wrong, and then we're going to see where to get it back on track.
That's right.
Because it's time to get into that rundown. And when it's time to get into that rundown, we got to talk about our bets. But we need y'all to stay tuned, locked in, right here. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all those good things. And then come right back to us where we're going to talk about the rundown. We're going to get you right for week 3, baby.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.